Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking our second look through those very early Return of the Jedi figures. Now these were the second half of the first wave. So these originally came on 65 backs and were part of the first wave of Return of the Jedi figures that were ever released. I've also, I'm pleased to say, dug out my original bag of weapons and spare weapons, and I cannot wait to show you what was in that as well. So there's a few surprises. So anyway, without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so we get a couple of figures out of the way first of all, and this one is Logray. He's one of the more common Ewoks, the medicine man. He's got three accessories. He's got this hood here. He's got this shoulder pack, and he also comes with a little staff. Sometimes I used to, in the past, have him holding his staff, something like this, in his hand. Something like that. As you know, I'm not a massive fan of the Ewoks, but they are what they are. Like that. I got some new plastic cases to stick these on. And all the ones that I've got in the cabinet are now like this. So I've been making massive progress on finding weapons and swapping stuff out and getting them correct. Since I found my little bag of weapons, it's made a huge difference. Let's just do the next one, then I'll dig the weapons out. So the next one's actually fairly complicated in the fact that I've got two of it. So it's Luke Skywalker in his Jedi Knight outfit. Now, I've got two variations because this figure came with a blue and a green lightsaber. It came with this sort of palace gun here. Now my one there's a little bit of a bend on it, but I believe these are my original ones from back in the day. Now this actually was quite a common figure carded, if you can believe it. But let's look at this first one here. So underneath, let's take him out. He's like the classic Luke from Jedi. Really sort of accurate sculpting for a slightly more mature Luke, shall we say, in that film. Now he doesn't stand up very well on his own, so it's quite handy to have him on a base. Like so. And then weapon-wise, well, as I said, he had one palace gun. Now, when these have historically been on display, I've put a tiny little bit of blue tack in the hands just to keep the weapons in slot, because they don't hold the weapons very well. And so he's got his blue one like that. It's quite nice, isn't it? And of course he has the cape that just slots over his head. Like so. So a nice little figure that. I like the fact that now that we're into Return of the Jedi, they've given them all lots more accessories and things rather than just a gun. And it does really make a difference. I think I sort of prefer him with his head out a little bit, just like that, rather than with his hood covered. But a really nice figure that. And I think before we do the next one, let's give ourselves a little bit more room and pull the camera out of touch. So here's my second one. And same sort of colour hair, although this Luke has got a much pinker face compared to the other one. So make of that what you will. But apart from that, he's got the same moulding. Pop him on a stand again. And as I said, back in the day, carded ones of these were actually fairly common. And I used to have one of each. I don't know quite what happened. I got rid of one of them. I've only got like a normal Kenner one for this figure now. And it's not a particularly nice one. It's yellowed up, so I'm not a massive fan of the yellow figures. Now, this lightsaber here, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to pick it up, but it's got a tiny like little line through it. Like at some point it's maybe been bent back. So bear that in mind, but I have actually got, and I'll show you these next, I've got my original bag of weapons. See, he's not going to hold that very well, is he? Oh, he's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. This particular figure just doesn't hold the weapons. It's just useless like that. That's why I used to blue tack them. Although, saying that, the other one did okay, didn't it? But yeah, I just pop a tiny little bit of blue tack in the end there. Like that. Yeah. It's not going to do it, is it? Okay, well, I'm going to leave them out for now. When I actually have put it into my cabinet, I shall blue tack them. But while we're here, there's his weapons. This is my little bag of weapons that I found recently in my collection. So we'll dig these out. And I'll take a little look at it. So, what did I find? Well, 2 X-Wing guns. I don't know, maybe I could keep them as spares for the Death Star. I mean, I've got a couple on my Death Star, but there we are. Now, this little bag here. This had a few bits and pieces in it. So we had 3 Cantina bases, or Land of the Jawas. That was the gun to... Where's that come from? Is that the Y-Wing gun? That's the top gun from a Scout Walker. And they were from the survival kit, weren't they? The Luke Besbin one. Put Yoda in, and the backpack and the gas mask. And here's a little booklet for that. American one. So that was in one little bag, and I had another bag. So because I found all these weapons, I've been able to swap the Han Solos, which had the wrong coloured blaster, and also all my Princess Leia's are now got the correct coloured blasters with them. Also, I had a Nien Nunb and TIE Fighter pilot where I just needed to swap the coloured weapons. So every single figure that's in my cabinet that we've done up to this point now has the correct weapon, and I've got all the ones out going forward, and I've already matched up the correct weapons with them all, so thank goodness for that. So in effect, these are now surplus. Now, that one there you'll notice is not Star Wars. It's for a figure that I've got, but I cannot for the life of me remember which one it is. So for now it's staying in with my little bag, and I've got little doubles of these, so these are all doubles. Now, here's another green lightsaber. And compared to the other one that we've got, it's actually a different colour. You see, this is the one that I've got with my Luke is dark green, and this is like a much lighter lime green, and it's got like a bit of scoring and wear on it. So even though that one's got the little line in, I'm going to keep it with that one. We got who was that again? That was Admiral Akbar, wasn't it? So a couple of Admiral Akbar staffs, a Luke lightsaber, a yellow one. Not telescoping, sadly. That's a belt for Leia Combat Poncho, I believe. Then I've got 2 more grey Palace rifles. The Attack Driver stroke Nien Nunb gun. Oh, 2 of them. Then I've got 2 blue Han Solo guns. And 2 blue Stormtrooper rifles, and all of these I believe are completely original. These are just ones that came in collections when I had the shop in the 90s, way before repro weapons were even a thing, and I just sort of saved them from back in the day because it was always nice to have a few spares. And now that I've come to sort these out and get the correct colours, it's really paid dividends. So thankfully, I think what I'll do once this series is done, I shall sell all these spare bits and pieces, I think, because I no longer need them. I'm going to keep the bases just in case I get a Land of the Jawas, or when I dig, I've got a Land of the Jawas, but I can't find it, and I can't remember if mine had any bases in at all. So I will save those, but you know, the bits for the survival kit. But apart from that, I think I'm probably going to get shot of it. You know, all the rest of the spare weapons, I don't think I'll have any trouble at all getting shot of them. Next we've got then Nien Nunb. He was a good old sidekick, wasn't he, to Lando when they were in the Falcon together. That was pretty good. Not a bad little figure. I quite like Nien Nunb, and I seem to vaguely remember buying this from back in the day. He definitely wasn't a mile away, was he, Nien Nunb? There we are. Yeah, quite a cool little character, that one. He really fits Return of the Jedi. Next we got another really cool one, which is Princess Leia in her Bosch disguise. Now, this was a great figure, really, really nicely designed. And I remember that original reveal watching Return of the Jedi thinking, wow. Now I do vaguely remember some people would slip the helmet just into her hand. Like that, yeah, like she holds it just like that. That's actually pretty cool, isn't it? Very, very nice. And then I think she's got the longest weapon in Star Wars history, this big old thing. Look at that. I mean, it's massive, isn't it? And I guess she could have it pointed, but there's no way you were going to have that. Well, there's no way I could have that in my cabinet. I think the best way... Oh, if I can stand her out. Let's get her on a stand. Get on a stand, woman. I do remember this being a particularly cool one at the time. Just have her arm up like that. So there we are. That's what after 2 minutes of playing around with her off camera, that's how she looks. I think that's the best way to display that one. That is a great, great figure, that one. Very, very nice indeed. Okay, next we've got the Rebel Commando. Now, he was a pretty nondescript character, wasn't he? But I know a few people have got a real soft spot for this particular figure. I think he's all right. I think the design on these, the moulding, is so much more advanced from those original days, and it really does show. And I think this was just a really good generic sort of rebel character to have. And I do like it. I mean, I'm not mad on him, but I don't mind him at all. Interestingly, the gun is just it's like something that's been borrowed out of G.I. Joe or something like that, doesn't it? And I generally have it sort of thrown over his shoulder like that, something along those lines, just to keep it together. But yeah, nice little figure, that one. It's about all you can really say, isn't it? I mean, these figures, they were just so good at the time. We're just so glad to have brand new figures at last, because the Empire Strikes Back ones has seemingly gone on forever. And there was such a long gap between the movies that it was almost like, you had to take a break and get into different things while you're waiting for the new Star Wars film to come out, But once again, 5 minutes later, I've managed to get him to hold his gun like that. So maybe that's going to be the way I have him in the display case. I'll pop him holding his gun like that. But boy, oh boy, I don't think any of these really hold their weapons that well, and that's quite annoying. Next then we got Reese. Now he was a funny one, wasn't he? It was almost like they were trying to ape the original cantina scene in Jabba's Sail Palace. But this is it was always a really, really easy figure to get, Reese, and he's not a favourite of mine, but he is what he is, isn't he? Let's slip him in place. Once again, another figure which had a unique weapon, this sort of gold affair here. And just in case you're in need of any information, I've put a link to a really, really great weapons guide in the description down below that you can just go to and download. There we are. So that's Reese. Put him next to the Commando. Now, next one was Squidhead. Now, he's not bad, this guy. Once again, if you think about it, you've got the plastic figure underneath, then he's got the skirt on with a plastic centre bit around him, like a waistcoat almost, and then he comes with an outer cloak and gun. So in actual fact, he's a pretty comprehensive little figure, this one, in actual fact, Once again, a unique design. He's just got that little grey blaster there, which mine's still holding. Really, really alien-esque, you could say. nothing much to say about it. It's funny, but these figures like Ryes and Squidhead, Weequay, the Ewoks of this period, these sold a lot, and they're also by far the most common figures to find today. So these are, even though these have got lots of elements to them, they're not exactly that expensive to find, even carded. So it's a good way to get a few figures done and dusted without spending out a fortune. Get some of these little sort of mock cantina aliens, as it were. Right, last one we've got today, finishing off wave 1 of Return of the Jedi, is this one, which is Weequay. Another one from the sail barge. Pretty cool design. It's sort of in keeping with Lando in his skiff guard disguise as well. Mine's got slightly flayed legs. I'm not sure if that's normal or not. Can't really turn his head because he's got this bit of hair in the way, which is a bit annoying, isn't it? But let's put him on a stand, like so. I think with my one, his legs do seem a little bit more wider apart than I would perhaps like, but I'm not sure if that's normal or not. And he has this staff, which isn't, it's not unique, but there's a couple of figures with this one. And once again, I think it might be cool to have him just sort of holding it sort of midway, something like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool, isn't it? So there they all are. And they do look really nice. There are some really interesting figures there, and I do like them. These were, I think, amongst the most common of all the Jedi figures, and I seem to remember these were on the shelf an awful long time before, like, the second wave came along, which themselves were quite popular and on the shelves for a good year or so. Now, as is customary, now that I've got these into the display case, let's have a look at the entire collection up to this point. And looking ahead, we've just got one more run of the Wave 2 Return of the Jedi figures, and then we're into like the fabled last 17, which I'm going to do as one long epic special, I think, which will be good fun. But they certainly do look very, very nice in the cabinet, and they're starting to look better and better as I've upgraded and sorted them out as we've been going along. Anyway, thank you very much for watching today. Do hope you've enjoyed the video. Do please give it a thumbs up if you have. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage Star Wars content. And I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.